ASMR Magical Tools. Hello. Welcome back. Happy Halloween. These are the gloves that I will be wearing today. They are suede, and here is the maker's mark. I know some of you are very interested in vintage leather gloves. These are suede. I did want to point out one flaw before we begin, so that it doesn't come up later. I haven't repaired it yet or anything like that. I may or may not, because it is such a close fit. But there is a small gap in the stitching on the index finger of the right hand. So I hope that doesn't bother anyone. And today, see, you can see it a little bit, but I'm hoping it won't be too noticeable. Today I wanted to do some crystal gazing. I have in the past on this channel done weekly crystal scrying by sign, but I thought it would be nice to mix it up a little bit and do crystal scrying for the collective and have collective messages and see what comes up. So you can see here quite clearly now where the hole is, and I do think that soon I will go in with a little bit of needle and thread and just pull that closed. So hopefully none of you are too upset by it. But to get started, I think all of you might know what this is. It is Palo Santo. Palo Santo is a wonderful purifying substance. And I'm just going to do some smoke cleansing for you before we get into the scrying. That way we know our messages are pure. In the Golden Dawn tradition, there are also Hebrew letters you can trace in the air. Just let it get right in there. It's very fragrant, very lovely. smoke. Very sacred wood. So in the Golden Dawn tradition, there are letters that you can trace in the air if you need to ground yourself also. And I think when I trace them for myself, it might show up opposite for you. But do trust that I am tracing them for myself and not necessarily not that it's not for your benefit. But that the benefit is not in the seeing, but in the doing for me. That I am getting you the clearest messages possible. Alright. And now, if you would like to take some deep breaths and relax, and we can breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the count, of course, is just to regulate your breathing and give you something to time it with. But there's no hard and fast rules of how you explore that deep breathing. Today, I'm going to be using this quartz crystal sphere. I actually didn't buy this for myself. I went to visit my family in Atlanta, and there's a really wonderful metaphysical shop down in Little 5 Points called Crystal Blue. So if you have love for Crystal Blue, please let me know down in the comments. I also got my Ankh bracelet there many years ago. Sacrifice, slaying, but there's an idea of like the fortune of the slaughterer, which I've gone into with the lunar mansions before, and that there is the executioner has a certain amount of luck, right? The luck of the executioner, the luck of the slaughterer, the luck of the sacrificer. You build up that energy when you are the one who is taking life, okay? And this accumulation of energy is not necessarily vampiric. It would be more of a cannibalistic type of energy consumption. And some of you are going through a divorce settlement. Now that we are coming out of this time of isolation, I think a lot of us have really reevaluated our relationships with others, right? But it could be very favorable for both of you. Obviously, it's very difficult to maintain a good relationship with the person from whom you are separating, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, clear that. And now we are going into the part of the reading about the future. And the future, I do see kind of like a Mad Max type wasteland. Now, this isn't to say paintings is concerned, there hasn't been a lot of that over the past 10 or 20 years. I feel like back in the 90s, back in my day, there was like a lot more emphasis on quality, and that was a period where there was starting to be a decline kind of in that. I know some of you have brought up the fact that the vintage leather gloves are much better made than gloves that you can buy on the market today, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. And this can leak into all aspects of our mutual situations, such that people forget that they are allowed to demand quality. People forget to ask for things in more demanding terms, and not just going along with what is available at any given time, not just accepting the scraps that society has to offer. And this doesn't necessarily have to do with your financial status. This has to do with things like job opportunities. It has to do with things like interactions with other people. I unfortunately have found that a lot of my interactions with other people in the physical realm, it's very difficult to have good boundaries with people sometimes. One of the things that I really appreciate about my rapport with you, dear viewer, is that there are good and healthy boundaries in place, such that neither one of us is in serious danger from the other. I have not been terribly secretive about where I live, but I also haven't been terribly forthcoming. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you live very far away," and I was like, well, that's on you, buddy. But overall, one of the things about me starting this channel is spreading this message. So I don't want to harp on it too much right now, because I feel like I go over that a lot in my videos. And I don't make any secrets about my anti-capitalist sentiments. But it's not just that. It's not that capitalism in itself is evil. It's that, and I'm really getting back to what I was talking about before, I promise. That oh, no, you don't need to know what that means for this video. I do think I've addressed it in other videos. Especially, I think I have a video about crystal scrying, so you can look for that in the Divination tools section. It's important to demand quality in your life. And not just quality in the products that you're buying or in the place where you live, but also demanding quality out of your friends and peers. And I don't mean this to be harsh. I certainly don't intend it to be taken as a license to just nitpick another person. have not been taking part in social media, and I encourage all of you to really evaluate your relationship with social media if you are on it. I didn't even realize that Facebook and Instagram had gone down. And I'm not saying that like I'm trying to brag or something. I'm saying that like they're not offering you an objective view into your friends' lives. It's not a genuine way to form a relationship with somebody. Now I understand that Discord might be a little bit better for that, and I just haven't found, I guess, the right Discord and Reddit groups for me. Again, it really comes down to popularity with the algorithms, and if whatever you're talking about isn't going to be terribly popular, then, like I would much rather spend my time making these videos. But enough about me, Let's total that out. How many of you have acquired a furnace leading into the winter time? I feel like some of you might already be experiencing snowfall and cold temperatures. We are getting the Santa Ana winds here in Los Angeles, and that brings in kind of like a very dry air, and it makes parts of the city kind of hot and other parts of the city kind of cold. But we're kind of going into fall, but I know that a lot of other places it's already quite cold there. So what I'm seeing is that somebody has this furnace problem. This furnace problem that was solved through purchasing a new furnace at the beginning of the winter chill coming in. What is important about this furnace? You could have spent years picking this thing out. Like maybe 5 years ago, you understood that the furnace that you had at the time was like 30 years old. A real clunker like the one from Christmas Story, right? And you started to understand that even though you had figured out the little nuances of getting it to work at certain times and having it available to you when you needed it, that there were things about it that were less than ideal. It could have had a slow leak, and that you had carbon monoxide gas building up in your house and you didn't realize it at first. And but I do think, like, whoever this is, you probably had carbon monoxide detectors installed, and I think at first though, like, you didn't really take it seriously. Like, you might have thought that it was a false alarm and that your carbon monoxide detectors were malfunctioning, but actually it was a carbon monoxide leak, and the resolution for that was for you to purchase a new furnace for your home. Now I think it's working very well right now, and that was a very wise decision for you to make. There might be other things building up in your home at this time that are similar to that. I mean, it's always something. There's always going to be something as a homeowner that needs to be repaired. And that's just how it goes. But this is important because you have a large extended family who is planning to come through around Christmas time. And something very bad could have happened if you had not taken care of that. So I'm very glad that you But what is so important about that? None of those people are gonna know how responsible you've been. Okay, so none of those people are gonna understand how responsible you were and how you have been keeping up with all of these different things. And I think there's like a mother-in-law. Mother-in-laws get such a bad rap, don't they? I have a really delightful mother-in-law, actually. But I think that this person, they could be like a meddling aunt or grandmother. They're like feeding this idea in your extended family that you're irresponsible and you're not capable of taking care of this house. Yeah, it's a very kind of like, let's see. It feels like kind of a toxic energy, like this person doesn't have bad intentions, but they are a busybody, and they are making entertainment for themselves at your expense. So, I don't know if you really want to have this person around you for the holidays. Obviously, like in some situations, it sends the wrong kind of message to disinvite people. In my own family, we have like a white elephant gift exchange that happens at my dad's aunt's house with all of his cousins and that extended family. And that has been there's a lot of stuff that ends up occurring around this dirty Santa gift exchange, shall we say. So, maybe that's something you would want to open up in your own family, just so these people who go around creating trouble have something real to worry about. And because it's at your house, you could be the one to spearhead it. And that would definitely make you look much more responsible in the eyes of others. The fact that you were able to coordinate such an event. Is that necessarily like a third eye open kind of way to deal with things? Not really. So if you are much more interested in handling it in your enlightened way, my advice for your enlightened self is to pull this family member aside and walk her through your taxes for 2021. Anytime you see her with a dish in her hand, as though she's going to serve people at your party, make sure to take the dish out of her hand. Make her feel totally not useless, but make her feel like a guest in your home. I need to clear that. What did he talk to you about? I see someone's leather billfold on the table, and like some ledgers. So you're having this discussion about money with somebody, and this could be around like a tour if you're a musician, a situation where you are starting a business together, because I see all this plywood around. So either you're a musician and you do business inside plywood buildings, and I'm not judging, I just know because I've been there, and that's why I said what I said. Or you are in construction and you're just like hashing out all of this information, going through the ledger, totaling things out. What happened to this? Do we still have that? What's our inventory going into 2022? I want you to feel like you can trust this person you're doing business with. You could have had some difficult times with this person in the past, but I think that in this particular situation, the things are set up around this particular situation such that they are not going to be inclined to screw up this time. And you're like walking hand in hand, like I think you guys are very good friends. I asked him to be the best man at my wedding, and he said no, so I didn't get married, that kind of a thing. I don't know if that makes sense to any of you. It's like you ask each other for permission to date certain people, but because so you trust this person's judgment a lot when it comes to your romantic partners, but you have occasionally in this other area of your life, you have had trouble with them when it comes to business. But that's not going to be the case this time. You could be walking away from a lot of money, and you're doing this because you're tired of putting yourself through that situation, that you're no longer aligned with that. This could be related to music or construction, like I had already mentioned for some of you, but this could be somebody in the healthcare field, that after the past 2 years, you're just done. You're just like, it's not worth the money that I'm getting, and you feel like you're gonna have to take a pay cut, and but your lifestyle will be so much better. You have to trust me on this. And I think we're getting very close to the end of our scried messages for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments. Your likes and channel subscriptions are also greatly appreciated. And I wanted